On a warship filled with heroes, legends, and walking weapons, I was the guy with a polishing cloth. The Sovereign Talon was the pride of the Varelian Empire, a kilometer-long blade of black alloy and violet light cutting through contested systems at the edge of known space. Its corridors echoed with disciplined footsteps, its air hummed with contained power, and its crew spoke in low, reverent tones about honor, conquest, and destiny. I maintained armor, not standard infantry plating, not flight suits. I was assigned to the High Guard, specifically to one warrior, Commander Shaketh. Among the Varelians, her name carried weight. She was their spear tip, their champion in ritual combat, their living symbol of imperial strength. Other species called her the Violet Reaper. Entire pirate flotillas scattered when her signature appeared on long-range scans. The first time I saw her, I understood why. Varelians were tall, built with lean, predatory grace. Their skin shimmered faintly in deep indigo hues, marked by pale bioluminescent lines tracing muscle and bone. Shaketh stood taller than most, her posture rigid, movements precise. Her eyes glowed like distant stars. Her armor was an extension of her legend, segmented violet plates etched with ancient sigils, a mantle of reactive energy that flared when she moved too quickly. It wasn't just protection. It was identity. And it was my job to keep it immaculate. I'd been recruited through a cultural exchange initiative. Humans were still new to interstellar politics, but we had a reputation: adaptable, resilient, mechanically intuitive. Apparently, we were also non-threatening. Which is how I ended up kneeling before the most feared warrior in 3 sectors, carefully buffing carbon scoring from her shoulder plate. She stood motionless as a statue while I worked. Most Varelians ignored me. Some treated me like background machinery. A few openly questioned why a human was allowed anywhere near their champion. Shaketh never said much at all, until the day she did. The first crack in the armor. We had just returned from the Kethari border conflict. The details were classified, but I'd seen the damage when she entered the maintenance bay. Her armor looked like it had walked through a supernova. Scorch marks ran across the chest plate. One vambrace was warped from plasma impact. Fine cracks spidered along the thigh guards where kinetic rounds had struck. She had survived. Others hadn't. I worked in silence, running diagnostic scanners over the suit while automated drones handled structural recalibration. "You are careful," she said suddenly. Her voice always surprised me. It wasn't harsh or booming like I'd expected from someone of her reputation. It was low, controlled, almost quiet. "Armor like this deserves it," I replied without looking up. A pause. Most technicians rush. "I don't," I said. "You're the one inside it." She went still. That might not sound dramatic, but Varelians rarely froze unless something unexpected had occurred. "You prioritize the wearer," she said. "Of course," I answered. "The suit's just hardware." Her luminous gaze shifted to me. I felt it like heat against my skin. "To my people," she said slowly, "the armor is sacred." "I'm not disrespecting it," I clarified quickly. "I just figure sacred or not, it's there to keep you alive." She studied me for a long moment. Then she turned away. But I noticed something subtle. She did not correct me. Middle, the warrior behind the weapon. Weeks passed. Skirmishes flared and faded. The Sovereign Talon became my world. Each time Shaketh returned from battle, I repaired, polished, recalibrated. And gradually we spoke more. Not about tactics, not about classified missions, about small things. She asked about Earth's oceans once, how something so vast could be made of water instead of vacuum. I told her about waves and salt air and how humans sometimes just sat and watched the horizon.
She seemed puzzled by that.
You gather no tactical data from this activity? She asked. Not everything has to be tactical, I said with a shrug. She absorbed that in silence. One evening, as I buffed the chest plate to a mirror sheen, I noticed faint scoring near the heart region, deeper than the others. That one got close, I murmured. It did, she replied. I hesitated. Were you scared? The air shifted. A dangerous question. Varelian warriors were not supposed to fear. She could have dismissed me.
Reported me.
Ended the conversation permanently. Instead, she said, yes.
Just that.
Yes. I stopped polishing. She continued, voice low. Fear sharpens instinct, but prolonged fear corrodes. I met her gaze. You don't look corroded. Her bioluminescent markings flickered faintly. Because you do not look at me as others do, she said. I blinked. How do others look at you? As a blade, she replied. As a symbol. As something to be wielded. And I don't. You look at damage patterns, she said. At stress fractures. At whether I am physically unharmed. Well, I said carefully, yeah. Silence settled between us. Then she stepped closer. Close enough that I could see the faint imperfections in her armor's reflection. You do not see me as a weapon, she whispered. No, I said honestly. I see you as the one wearing it. The breaking point. War doesn't stay distant forever. The Zathari offensive hit without warning, a coordinated assault on multiple Imperial outposts. The Sovereign Talon jumped directly into the thick of it. The battle was chaos. Through internal feeds, I watched Shaketh lead a boarding counterstrike. Plasma flares lit corridors. Explosive decompressions rippled through hull sections. Then the feed cut. Emergency alerts flooded the ship. High guard casualties, severe. My hands shook as I ran toward the recovery bay. They carried her in minutes later. Her armor was shattered. Not damaged, shattered. The chest plate I had polished 100 times was cracked open, exposing underlying systems. One pauldron hung uselessly at her side. Blood, deep violet, streaked along the fractured plating. She was conscious. Barely. Medical drones swarmed her, but Varelian physiology resisted certain forms of sedation. She locked eyes with me across the bay. And for the first time, I saw not a commander, not a legend, just someone in pain. I moved without thinking, ignoring protocol, ignoring rank. I knelt beside the gurney and took her hand. Her fingers twitched in surprise. You will be repaired, I said, voice steadier than I felt. You always are. Her breathing was shallow. Do not let them replace it, she murmured. Replace what? The armor, she whispered. It is ours. I understood. It wasn't about sacred metal. It was about history, scars, survival. I'll fix it, I said. Every piece. Her grip tightened faintly. I know, she breathed. Reforging more than metal. The next weeks were the hardest of my career. The armor had to be disassembled entirely. Some segments required molecular-level reconstruction. Others I rebuilt by hand, matching etchings and sigils with painstaking precision. Varelian artisans offered assistance. I declined. This is my responsibility, I told them. In truth, it was more than that. As I worked, I realized something profound. I wasn't restoring a symbol. I was preserving a story. Every scar in that armor had meaning. Every repaired fracture marked a battle survived. When Shaketh finally returned to the maintenance bay, still healing, movement slower, I presented the restored suit. It gleamed, not pristine, but whole. She approached it reverently.